Well, days after the COP28 climate summit in Dubai agreed to a, quote, transition away from fossil fuels, end quote, the Australian energy market operator has issued a warning over the stability of our energy grid. AEMO warns the nation needs to double the planned rollout, double it, of new power lines by the end of the decade, or we'll face more frequent blackouts. Joining me now is geologist Ian Plimer. Ian, thanks so much for being here. How's it going?
Not too bad, thanks, Liz.
Terrific. Do you think this will rush renewables end in disaster? I mean, it's already looking like an absolute disaster. We're not touching anywhere close to all the targets. And now we're being told we've got to rush what we're already not pulling off whatsoever.
Well, the net zero agenda is economically and technologically utopian, and it's been like that for a very long time. And the chickens are coming home. At COP, which was we've had 28 of these. I don't see if we'd had a major problem where they couldn't have solved this in 2 or 3 meetings, but it seems a massive jaunt for people to go there in private jets and eat meat and have a great time with all their mates and see you later, we'll see you next year. But they're talking about a transition. And at COP, Iraq said that they need all the money from oil so they can address climate change. Germany shut down 3 nuclear power plants and coal is phasing out, but they're planning to build 40 new gas power plants.
Oh, of course.
Instead of phasing out, they just realised that they can't power a country on renewables alone. You have to have huge technological changes before you can store large amounts of electricity. We have more than 1,000 new coal plants being planned globally, and India is increasing its coal production. So it wasn't really a climate conference. It was a conference about energy and how some countries, like our country Australia, where we sent our minister who's got the personality of a wet cardboard box, that minister was saying we want to increase our renewables. Other countries are talking about tripling their nuclear power. And the energy costs have forced people to focus their minds, and the political mood is changing as a result of the energy costs. So COP now is a giant party for idealists. We pay for it as taxpayers, and if they're successful in doing what they want to do, we actually end up paying even more money for an even greater mess, and that's having a double grid system, which is unreliable.
I got to tell you, in watching the climate protesters, which we always bag out, and rightly so, it makes me wonder, why aren't everyday people like ourselves taking to the streets and being just as passionate about the fact that this is a ridiculous, nonsensical, unexplained agenda that is costing our nation its prosperity, that is going to increasingly cost individuals dearly? I mean, it was just yesterday New South Wales residents were even being encouraged to ration their power to ease the strain on the grid. Here's the New South Wales Energy Minister, Penny Sharp, yesterday.
We're asking, households and businesses to think about what they can defer between 5 and 9 o'clock tonight. So if you can turn your air conditioning up a little bit over about 24 is fantastic. If you can make sure that you don't use your dryers or your dishwashers or your pool pumps between sort of 5 and 9 p.m. tonight, that will all help.
And then we've got the minister that you referred to, the fellow with the dry as an arrowroot biscuit personality, Chris Bowen. He's off in COP28 still saying, no, we've got to get rid of fossil fuels. He was one of the ones leading the charge, saying, oh, this thing doesn't have enough teeth, let's add to it.
Well, we saw it with The Voice. People just got sick of being lectured to, being told how to live their life, being told how to spend their money, and they just kept quiet. And when it came to the vote, then people voted. And the same will happen with climate. People are absolutely sick of being told they're going to fry and die. People are being sick that this is the hottest day or hottest month or hottest year. They know it's rubbish. They have common sense, and they're just keeping their powder dry. And if Mr Dutton wants to win the next election, all he's got to do is to address immigration, and the second thing is address the cost of living, mainly that is energy. That's all he's got to do, and just point out the ridiculousness of our energy systems, and that We have in Australia some of the greatest forms of energy available. We're not using them, and it's costing people too much. So I think it's a very, very simple solution. We've let the Greens out there, let them out of the kindergarten ground. They've played with our grid, they've played with electricity, they've got it wrong. It's cost us a fortune. Now it's time to lock them up.
Well, I can't disagree with you there. I hope Dutton was listening and taking notes, because I don't doubt that would do him very well at the election, which is what we're all hoping for. Ian Plimer, thank you so much for your time this evening.